able to go to help cover additional home delivered meals cost for this year. So we're very happy to receive that and a notice of grant award. So it's not just allocated to us. We actually did get the NGA for that, and that'll be moving forward at next month's meeting. We've been very active as well in helping the health department with their COVID-19 vaccination clinics. So a lot of my staff have been participating in Saturday events, as well as the last couple Thursday events too. And we did hold both of our Kinney Drugs events. One was in Fulton, one was in Pulaski. We didn't receive as large of a turnout as we were hoping, but certainly getting any additional seniors vaccinated is a good thing. We'll be having our second vaccination event in Fulton this Friday, and our second vaccination in Pulaski will be April 20th. So we will be both there, and I thank both Legislator Yerdens for coming out to our Pulaski event. It was great to see you and to have you participate in that event. Thank you so much. Other than that, we've been trying to maintain the status quo. We did get some more animatronic pets in, so we've been getting them deployed. Our food boxes that we have about 25 food boxes remaining right now. We won't be soliciting for more food at this time, but we do have those boxes available to get out to the community. We've distributed about 67, I believe, boxes at this time. So it's been great getting them out in the community. We also work with Catholic Charities, and we distributed 25 food bags out in the community for Easter as well. It was a day of food, so it had breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the Easter meal for 25 seniors that are homebound and don't have any family available. So we continue to look for partnerships wherever we can to get services to our elderly in the county. But really, that's all I have new to share with you all.
Thank you, and thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
I wanted to make a note that if you didn't catch it, Tom Drum said that he had to leave the meeting. That was about 27. Stacy, you are up for department updates.
So I had provided a written report. So as I run through some of the highlights, if you have any questions. We still have not seen the budget come out from the state. We're waiting with bated breath. We did get claims that were paid from last year. They've been very slow to pay our claims. Next month, we'll provide a more in-depth overview of that for you. But what it does look like on the financial assistance side of the house, which is cash assistance, food stamps, all of those programs, they did not have a hard cut on that 5%. They paid out the claims all 20%. But child welfare, they did not. They kept 5%. And it's just unconscionable that given the impact, not only the opioid epidemic, but the pandemic has had on the safety of children in our communities, that they would withhold and take away scarce resources as it is. So we're still looking at that 5% cut from the 62%, which, Veronica, remind me, it's 58.9% now of our protective and preventive. And it looks, there's some recent LCMs, ADMs that have come out that have that language right in it. So that is very disconcerting as to if they're looking at this being forever hard cuts. At the same time, they're mandating us a lot more on things that we have no control over. In the budget, they asked for differential response, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware. That's what used to be called FAR in our shop, and not too long after I came, I took a really hard look at that family assessment response. So it is a different track than child protective investigations, and it's not, it doesn't have the same health and safety risk kinds of pieces to it. And about 2 years in, when we got our first new director of services, Carrie and I discussed it, looked at what was happening across the state. There had been some fatalities on FAR caseloads, and decided, given the high turnover rate in our shop, it just wasn't safe for us to continue to do FAR. We had 2 teams, 2 seniors, all devoted. The state does not allow you to mix caseloads, so we had to devote them. That was at a cost of about $662,000. That's what it cost us to run FAR. And now, although I think it's going to be taken away from the state budget talks and out of that bill, they are starting to push it as a separate bill. So this is something for us to watch and keep track of. We are putting a lot of, I as well am putting a lot of advocacy into this. I remember 2 decades ago, I served on a governor's council that oversaw child protective services and was part of assessing appropriateness for differential response. And back then it was very clear, if you have a well-staffed shop, it's probably a good program, but not with where we're at in staffing. We are now with the second director of services since my tenure, and she's with us today, Sarah Finley. I wanted to just recognize Sarah because Sarah really shoulders a lot of responsibility for us. She's the one that gets called in the middle of the night when there's been a fatality. And she's the one that really steps right up to the plate, making some pretty tough decisions. Sarah as well is not in support of us having a differential response in Oswego County. So she will be joining in that advocacy with me. Right now, there are 16 counties that choose to operate a FAR program, and those 16 counties are indeed counties that are well-resourced, smaller counties, and seem to be doing a good job with differential response. It should be a district's choice. It should be a district's option. Financial assistance. So we have more waivers continue to happen. The face-to-face waiver for people to come in and apply for assistance has been extended to the end of June. And they are now going to be voting on a bill that actually makes that permanent. So there would be no face-to-face contacts. Again, I am not a fan of this state policy. They are hopefully going to make that an option, that we would submit a plan and it would be optional. At the very least, we want to make sure that folks who are in DV situations or have addiction issues are seen face-to-face. And we remove all barriers for people as far as transportation and having appointments for them at times that are convenient. But those face-to-faces are indeed really very important. The eviction moratorium is set to end May 1st. We'll see how that all plays out. We have been allocated $1 million of CARES Act federal funds, but much like much of the federal funds that the state takes into their coffers, they're not turning it around very quickly to our coffers. So we haven't seen a penny of it, nor has our plans been in any way approved yet. So we're still sitting tight, waiting for that money to come. Did I get that right, Veronica? Okay. Child and Family Services. So our state mandated training, I wanted to just kind of give you an update on that. Again, more cost to the county and mandates. So now they want to bring all the caseworkers that we've trained during this pandemic through virtual training with the state. And once it's over, they want to bring them back down to Albany to spend, 2 weeks in a motel down there and go through their fancy training institute in Albany. And I'm calling foul on that too. These are folks who have full caseloads now. We have our own training coordinator. We are ensuring that they're up and ready and trained, or else we don't send them out autonomously. And again, this is another way that we're not seeing the state come in good faith to really help us out during a pretty tough time for local districts. I also wanted to make sure you knew that we'd be releasing an RFP soon. It will be through Onondaga County Purchasing. And this is, we have to get ready for the whole federal refinancing of child welfare, the Family First Prevention Services Act. And by George, I think I got that right this time, didn't I, Sarah? Yeah, I want to just say FIPSA, but that is something that we really have to shift our practice. And there are a tremendous amount, the devil's in the details here, so I'm not going to get into that today. And maybe not even in May, but I think in June or July, I'll actually go through some PowerPoint slides with you and kind of show you what we're looking at. I did give you some rundowns on this in the last couple of years. I've shared with you some PowerPoints from the state. What I can say to you, it is massive. It is huge, huge shifts in our policy and our practice and our workflow. We have to do these blind reviews. We have to do these kinship firewalls, on placement of kids. We're going to have to do QRTPs, which means a lot more hoops to jump through in order to place our youth in higher, more restrictive facilities. So, and all of these have to be evidence-based, yet the state hasn't told us what plan they're putting out to the feds to tell us what those evidence-based programs will be. So we're already a bit behind the 8 ball here, but time's a wasting and I need to move along. This goes into effect the end of September of this year. It actually was in 2018 the feds passed it, but New York took a 2-year waiver on it. Why is all this important? Well, April's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and there'll be a proclamation read at this Board of Legislators meeting. And if you look at the child welfare data that I gave you, Oswego County's rate of maltreatment is 3 times higher than the rate of New York State as a whole. We have a serious problem with child abuse in our county. Keep in mind, these are reports that are indicated, and these are unduplicated numbers. So we're not talking about multiple reports in families. We have also provided to you, when CPAC was going strong, we're a little bit behind on our CPAC meetings with the pandemic, but I'm working with County Attorney Mitchell to get those back up and going. We talked with you about how persistent stress from child maltreatment impacts early brain development and can impair the development of children. And the good news is that can be mitigated with the right services. So that's what we're going to, kind of do with this RFP, is try to shift the paradigm a bit to less of a placement out of home and more to a prevention model, which is exactly what the federal law intends us to do. And you can see how important that is. I gave you those foster care placement rates. At the low end, we were at 40 foster care placements in 2014. We're now up to 197. But we've pretty much plateaued for the year. We've kept it right around 200 for the county our size. And with the number of state central registry reports we get, that's probably a reasonable estimate of about what we would see. And you can see we're doing a lot more Article 10 placements, meaning that we're trying to place kids with their own bio families whenever possible. So the cost of child abuse and neglect, you know, when we look at the national child abuse rate, not only are we 3 times the rate of New York State, but we're 5 times the national rate. So again, this is a serious problem in Oswego County, and what we've been trying to do hasn't made the kind of impact I'd like to see. So in my next 5 years, I really want to see that rate come down. I really want to see our kids have a better start in life. Primary prevention is the way to go. Things like Healthy Families, New York State home visiting that you're supporting through public health. Those kinds of primary prevention are absolutely critical. And then a good, strong prevention. And having more 4E money as of the end of September of this year, if we play our cards right and we bill and claim appropriately, we'll also bring more federal money into Oswego County for this mission. I did give you a little bit, just a quick paragraph on the Family First Prevention Services Act. Just to refresh your memory, again, I know we have gone over this. Actually, I guess it was, it was 2 years ago, not just last year. So I guess it was really good. But every national study that's been done shows that $7 is saved for every dollar spent when we have prevention. So with that, if there's any questions on my report or anything I covered.
All right, seeing none, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And Jamie, if you're still on, thank you for your patience.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Legislator Rehill. Good afternoon, everybody. So not much from the Veterans Agency. We did release our application forms for the 2021 Veteran of the Year. We're still going to go strong with that program, and hopefully by the time selection comes around, we'll be able to honor last year's Veteran of the Year along with this one. For the month of March, the Veterans Agency, we had contact interactions with 344 veterans. That's a fairly large number in comparison to our previous months. We are slowly getting in-person interactions, so we did have 5 for the month. We filed 31 claims in the month of March. So business is picking up. We're a little bit more busy this month than we have been in the previous months. We will have a vacancy opening up at the end of the month, so that'll be something that I'll discuss next month. I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I think if you could actually talk a little bit quieter, won't echo so much.
Okay, I can just hear other people talking, so I wasn't sure if you could hear those people as well. But that was all that I had for the report. So again, 344 interactions for the month. An open vacancy will happen at the end of the month, and we have the nomination forms that are available. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions for Jamie? All right. Thank you, everybody. Look for the appropriate motion.
Oh, we still got, our youth director, Ryan Chetney.
Oh, geez, sorry, Brian.
It's all right, Ray. It's all right. I'll go
We
quick.
already heard from you so much about the other stuff. I forgot about you.
I'll go rather quickly. Our budget, echoing a lot of what Stacy had said, that we're waiting to hear a lot. You know, we're hearing a 5% on our youth development, which I think is, the commissioner has already mentioned, you know, with youth development, that's out of school time, and cutting that doesn't make a lot of sense at this point in time, but so they're working to advocate for that. My board was able to meet briefly last month to allocate funding for 2021. We waited based upon when we could meet, first of all, and second of all, looking at what programming is actually happening right now with the schools going back, so that we could get a good feel on how we would be using those dollars. Our Governor's Youth Council kicked off year 2 on April 1st. Again, I'll be serving as the coordinator for the central and southern tier region. I have 18 youth that I'm in charge of throughout the state. I'd love to have Oswego County's representative be able to be introduced to the legislature at some point in time. She is from Mexico, New York, and she's absolutely fantastic representation for our county. We're just getting together. We have a meeting tomorrow with the health department to discuss different guidelines and such as we look at 2021 summer. Every day when you see changes and such, and addressing the what ifs. And when I say the what ifs, they're just things you don't think of in a normal day, as to when they put restrictions on certain pieces of what you can do and you can't do. The what ifs are, you know, if you have a program of a drop-in program and all of a sudden you have a new family or a new child who wants to attend to that, making sure that they're not considered an outsider and being shut out for that. So there's a lot of little loose ends that we're working with to go forth on. Friends of Camp House is doing their own capital campaign right now to look at doing some improvements at Camp Hollis. So we're looking at things such as a climbing wall and additions to our playground and such, that Friends of Camp Hollis is looking to be funding along with, so not to burden the county with that. Our 75th anniversary is this summer. Again, that's, you know, difficult to do with what COVID has, but we're still planning to do some form of a media day, a recognition that you as legislators will be finding out about soon, because you will be invited, you know, similar to our luncheon that we had. We'll find a nice way to spread you out on picnic tables at Camp House somehow, so that we can recognize the 75th year at camp. We are starting a new program. We're in talks of starting a new program at Camp Zerby. 2 of them, I've been talking with Legislator Yurden about a program we want to run out there, as well as another one I'm working with the Teachers Association. We're trying to get it all put together to do some STEM training out there this summer for teachers. It's a great location with the nature setting and such for them to do that. Our virtual career summit will be April 14th. You'll be hearing a lot about that we can't do the normal youth summit we do at the college, but this will be a webpage kickoff that has a great collaborative team together, working with the OBCR from the college, and employment and training and such, to be able to put together a good path for our young people to search out employment opportunities in Oswego County. I just want to touch base lastly on a couple of things. Our little free libraries, you'll start to see those open up now that the weather's getting good. Last year, one of the statistics I gave to Janet Clerkin for how it worked in 2020, we went through thousands of books last year that were handed out to our young people for free. And lastly, I was just going to give you a heads up that next month, I'm going to be inviting some of the Literacy Coalition to come in to talk about our Dolly Parton Imagination Libraries and where we're headed with that. So I just wanted to just give you a quick update. And with Camp Hollis, our numbers are soaring right now. Again, as we watch guidance from New York State, based upon what we could do last year with the guidelines that where we were at, we are at really high capacity for that. When I'm talking at over 50% capacity already, which is really, the first week in April is unheard of. That, but it kind of shows you the need of what our young people are looking to do this summer. That normally in a traditional year at this point in time, our numbers grow dramatically after spring break. Well, we've seen this year that our numbers are already up there. They're already up to that point and they continue to grow. We still do have a few jobs available if anybody's looking. Again, I keep pushing it. If you're a lifeguard, you're going to be employed for life because they're hard to find. So lifeguards and some kitchen help and such, but we do have some positions available if anybody knows anybody looking for a good summer job. So that's all I'll give for now. Thank you.
All right. Sorry about almost leaving you off the agenda there, Brian.
That's okay. I got it. You're excused.
Now we can look for the appropriate motion.
We got a first, we have a second.
Second, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much for attending.